Oh, I'm live. Yay. Okay. So, I'm Dr. Mia Lueth. Most of you will just call me Mia. Hockey nickname is Creasesinger. And as long as you don't call me Bill or, Bub or something, I think I'll be all right. I've had to reschedule some tests. Um, um, so, I may have to get surgery in 2 different places, but I'm hoping that doesn't happen. We'll see. I have small ligament tears and all kinds of stuff going on. But the cancer free me. That's a load off. Still have to check for things, but yes, I started a ministry called God Cares Ministries, and I have started it from home. There are plans, but I'm not really looking too far in the future because it's a step-by-step situation, and it's going to depend on cooperation here and there. So that's why also I do these updates, because just in case anybody runs across it, I still need volunteers. I always need volunteers. So if you're not local, I can still use help far away. Technology makes that more possible, and I'm in a lot of pain today. Some days are better than others. But yeah, volunteers are helpful. And the basic situation is the ministry set up to locate gaps in emergent need situations that seem to be falling through the cracks. And so I've started fundraising for, it's actually now 2 different funds, but I'm just calling it the Creasesinger Fund for now because it's all through Giveify and it goes through the same place. So Giveify.com, if you search for God Cares Ministries Limited, that's to make sure I have office supplies. I don't get paid right now. I'm hoping that at some point I will get paid, but I have to be home a lot, which is, I don't want to get all cuckoo and not so cuckoo. So, I started doing some things, and I already had set aside something for a nonprofit. I don't know, in 2007, but life happens, and then you get run over, and people dying all around you. You have to figure out how to hit on people in a hospital because that's pretty much my only social activity, which blows pretty badly. But I need help, but I can use local help. So Elton, Maryland, anybody from that area around Delaware, the corner. I'm in the corner. Yeah, I'm cornered by Delaware, Pennsylvania. So anybody looking for something to do, I always have something to do. So if you don't know how to do anything, I have really simple things. But if you know how to type or use a computer or whatever, so I'll put that out there. I also collect locally any kind of glass and wax, candles, any kind of wax that it has been used. It's renewable, so I can use the containers and I can use the wax. So that you can bring to 238 East Main Street, number 7, Elton, Maryland, ELKTON. That's 21921. Donations can also be sent there too. Have a list on Amazon, and one of the videos has it. but I will make sure to try and put it out a little more noticeably here. I can't afford to have, I can't afford to own the website under a .org because of the cost of the space and other kinds of things. So some things are getting worked out. I I can take new clients here. However, I have to say that there's something, a long-term project may be coming up. So until I know more about that, I'm pretty much short-terming it. But that's one of the reasons that uh, if you're not familiar with terminology, a minister is someone who attends to people. You understand? And so that's kind of my thing. Any other kind of thing, if I get dragged into it, you will understand what an angry woman looks like in real life. But anybody who's on the Eastern Shore, okay, there's something called the Eastern Shore Crisis Response and Resource Helpline, and it's open all the time, all year. All right, 1-888-407-8018. Okay. They can actually come to your house. So it's Caroline, Cecil, Dorchester, Kent, Queen Anne, Somerset, Talbot, and Wycomico counties. They have resources all over the place. So if you get kicked out of your house, if you're tired of, living with an abusive, you know, individual who really just doesn't really seem to care if you live or die, if you feel like that's it, I'm done, suicide time, if you feel like you've been trying to get help and you still couldn't find it, this is the best resource that on this side of Maryland. So if you're in those counties, keep this number. But there are also ways. You can call 311. If you can't remember anything else, you can call 311. That's the United Way. Okay, I think it's the United Way. If not, I know that they will keep you on the phone. They will find a way to get some sort of resource right away to you. Okay? Like, if you can't take it anymore, all right, don't die over it. Okay? Don't. Because somewhere something will give. And I got to be honest and tell you that since like 2012, I don't know, I took such a nosedive. I honestly thought I was in bizarro world, and I did try and off myself, which is very, very not like me. But I happen to be open to certain empathetic things at the wrong time. So, and it's taken me, I eventually had to get help because, like, yeah, I didn't even care about my bills. Like, I just let them toss my shit out the side and made them start my crappy car because of the battery, and ended up eventually in a hospital after another portion of the detail. Right? And it's been an interesting journey ever since. However, for me, entirely too painful. I got an empathetic related wound that is almost impossible to heal. So I'm not doing as well as some people might. But I eventually got housing that I can afford. It took 10 years. It did. But now I'm back in my own apartment and I can afford the payment. because I get help with it. So there's a lot of shit. I mean, there's a lot of shit. And sometimes it's one thing that takes you down, or it's just a successive, bunch of little, you know, knife cuts. And eventually you just start to bleed out. So never, ever, ever think that asking for help at any point in time makes you anything less than a very brave and good individual. Because number one, everybody has to know, what if, don't be robbing us of your good now, okay? You see, we need all the good as much, you see, but no one ever has to feel like that. And it doesn't matter what the outside influences are. I mean, it's taken me freaking ridiculous long time, but I also have, physical illnesses and other sorts of things. My post-traumatic stress is so bad that, yeah, I've probably lost another 10 years of my life. So I started to think, well, why the hell am I fighting? I'm not going to fight to live. So that's not really what I'm doing. And I don't really agree with all therapeutic methods or some social services, but people do have to realize that if you think that the poor are handled well and given a shot, even in the United States, then I disagree in every sense of the word. That is a hard no. Too many people in this interesting little, happy little bubble, and, don't give the poor your worst. You give the poor your best. You understand? I mean, sure, I could live a lot of places. And sure, I could make a bunch of money very, very quickly. But what the fuck good is that when I have other skills? And so that's why I'm volunteering. Okay? I can't really keep doing it, but not realistically without some help. But like I said, I have some research that's kind of on the side. I'm not going to talk about. It's my intellectual property. But I also think that I might have a long-term commitment coming up. But I'm always okay with someone who's in just like a shit pickle of a situation and needs just a safe place to save or whatever. See, then, right. Then you come to me. But there's so much more love than anybody could ever possibly know of. It extends past any universe or galaxy that any of you could conceive of. So you just gotta open up and feel it sometimes, because anything can drop you, and it may not even be your fault. So don't listen to any of the other crap. Listen to your heart saying, well, this is gonna suck, but I gotta keep trying to get up every day. And trust me, in the middle of the 5 years, I just didn't give a shit. No, just time went by. And if I hadn't been evicted from my house because I didn't give a shit, I was waiting and waiting and waiting for grants or, applying for funding and nothing doing. So, but I've met a lot of interesting people along the way. And I've met a lot of people who, you know, have been just tossed around and handed around, and nobody knows what to do with them. And what the hell, United States of America, right? You want greatness? Well, you've been doing it wrong, to be honest with you. All right. But also, you can call 911. Housing may be a problem. You might have to go through, some crap you don't want to go through. Okay. But just keep asking for help until you get it. I mean, I still feel like some days, you know, but there are these little things that just, and now that I have my medication straight, I don't need a lot of mental health medication, but I need other medications, and they can mess with you too. And sometimes you get caught up in something and you try, like, you know, mother grabbing to get out of it. But by the time you get out of it, you've been pretty much, like worked over a few times. And so you might end up on the street having to start over again. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with the street. They're our streets. And we should sing on them, right? It's not idealistic. It isn't. It's a reality. But that's what I want to talk about. There are people around me, and unfortunately, the patterns of COVID, and when it all starts to process with everybody, right? And people start realizing, when you look at numbers and all these kinds of things, it's hard to take sometimes. So, sing, right? Go in the woods and bitch at trees, okay? Like, talk to yourself when you're, riding heavy machinery no one can hear. But everybody, let it go, man. Please. Because every time one of us does that, we all get later together. Okay? So I would write down some stuff, but I always need help, and I'm always available. My information's all over the internet. I will do some. Well, I don't call it paranormal because to me it's not quite as. It's more normal than paranormal, but I will. There are paranormal societies. There's some things that you're sending the wrong message, and there's only so many times a person can see this pattern happen without just saying, "Oh well, there goes fun for the rest of my life." There it all goes. All that stuff that I thought I'd be able to do, take vacations. Besides the fact that I got sick, because this is just more important, right? So every day, just once a day, I'm not going to guru anybody. I'm going to say once a day. That's it. Just once, right? Anyway, other donations, I mean, aside from money, there's other things, but I am working on the website. I'm way late on my minutes because I'm the board in Maryland. I could do that. I don't want to be the whole board. I also need at least a treasurer and a secretary, but these are positions that are meant for people, master's degree or equivalent, life volunteer, blah, 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 right? But if anybody has time, it's not a huge time commitment for board meetings yearly. go by the calendar year. So, but they can be done like on Zoom or any phone. They can be done from remote places if necessary. So, um, anybody's interested, just contact me. But raise the frequency, and sometimes the darkness is just there to shade you from the heat. Okay. All right. Take care, everyone.